Well, my name is Nikolaj Bendix Skyum Larsen. I'm Danish, and I'm an artist. I work mainly with film and video, and film and video is mainly what I show, or it's only what I show here in the exhibition in Dundee Contemporary Arts. I came to London in '91 and started studying art in '96. Studied sculpture at Chelsea College of Art and studied fine art media at the Slade, did my MA there, and finished about 10 years ago. The type of work that I make is a type of arty documentary or poetic documentary where I work with people rather than making work about people. The work I show here at DCA, I show 2 films filmed in a Parisian suburb, ghettoized suburb, and in a Danish ghettoized suburb, where for the films are called Tales from the Periphery. And for 5 months I held workshops with, I didn't want to just come into these stigmatized areas with a big camera crew and film my version of or my interpretation of these areas. So instead I held workshops with young people and talked to them about how to represent yourself, how to film, and they filmed with their mobile phones and cheap little simple video cameras, and gave me the footage which I edited into these 2 films. I also show a work called Rendezvous, which was the first work I did in a long series of work I've done about migrants and migration. I'd spent a lot of time in Dubai and in a city just south of Dubai called Sharjah. Did an artist residency, and I worked there as well. And worked with Indian migrant workers. And I got really interested in, there's so many male migrant workers from India and Pakistan and other places in the United Arab Emirates. And I wondered whether there were, little villages and towns where there would only be elderlies and their wives and their children. So I did a series of portraits of Indian migrant workers, 22 all in all, and they don't do anything. They just look straight into the camera. They don't say anything. And what I did was that then I went to India to find their families and did similar portraits of them where they are standing outside their houses, also just looking into the camera. And in the exhibition space, they appear to be looking at each other. So in a way, in a poetic way, I bring them back together, because they are often separated for many years, while their providers, their dads, are out there earning money for the family. That was the first work in this series of work about migration. Since I am going to, next week I'm going to Istanbul and will make this journey down to the Syrian border, where I will make a project. I don't know exactly what the project is going to be, but I will make a project about the thousands of Syrians who currently flee their home country in order to survive, and they live in big makeshift refugee camps along the Syrian-Turkish border.
Well, I'm Dem, and this is
Dash.
And we met in 2007 at the Royal College of Art. We studied together. We studied on the same platform, actually, for 2 years. And we became really good friends when we went to the Ars Electronica Festival in 2007 to exhibit 2 of our pieces there.
I mean, predominantly we kind of started collaborating as, both our backgrounds were in design, but we were both using design and performance to kind of explore how constructed systems kind of shapes and influence our behavior. We both kind of were interested in kind of humor and spectacle and kind of public engagement. And as Demetrius said, when we were kind of going out to Ars Electronica, I was performing In Your Hands, remote control roller skates that put my fate in the hands of audience, and Demetrius was serving ice cream depending on how unhappy people were. So that was kind of the start of our working relationship, kind of helping out each other in these different performances and kind of develop from there. So imagine being a world leader is a kind of workshop which kind of uses a fictitious political summit as a framework for teaching kind of public speaking and political rhetoric, gestures and body language. So here we have staged the Dundee 2012 Summit for World Change. You can see in the background here, we've kind of built a set in the gallery which kind of highlights the kind of artifice of these political spectacles. We have a scale podium, scale flags, scale carpets. We've designed the kind of crest that kind of draws from the Scottish thistle in kind of reference to kind of the kind of generic design of a lot of these Soviet badges and logos. But yeah, these becomes the kind of props that are the catalyst for this workshop that gradually train these primary schools how to be competent public speakers. I mean, behind us, behind you, the camera, there's a printed fabric backdrop, which we kind of shot in a stately home with flags, bouquet, fireplace, the kind of generic image that you always see of world leaders greeting and shaking hands. And in the workshop, the kids were taught the kind of different political handshakes and what they symbolize, from a double-hander to a shoulder grab. But when you come into the gallery as a viewer, you'll be kind of initially drawn to the kind of backdrop and the kind of image of that, but then on the other wall you'll see the kids kind of practicing and learning that, in contrast to a kind of instructional panel that are kind of breaking down these techniques. So the kind of gallery has this kind of interactive element where you can also try on jackets, practice your walking like a world leader, have a go behind the podium.
All designed for 7-year-olds, so now that would look really awkward in that space as well, which we think is quite nice.
A key part of the project has been our collaboration with the education department here at DCA and with Sarah. So this project, Imagine Being a World Leader, was originally staged in Jubilee Primary School in Hackney in 2008, which was actually the run-up to the previous American elections where Barack Obama was first elected. We're now kind of restaging it 4 years later when he's coming up to
second term now, where his values have slightly changed, his marketing campaign also slightly different, and we live in a slightly different world again. But this project falls very nicely also with the referendum on Scottish independence as well, which Graham thought that might be an interesting opportunity to kind of use this summit for Scotland as well, to work with in tandem with that too.
I think it's been really nice for us as artists being invited to the DCA because it seems it's been really considered, like, why restage this project now? I mean, obviously we've just been going into a couple of those points, but there's also the Discovery Film Festival, the event in itself, where we've been collaborating with the Education Department and Blackness Primary School, is obviously kind of introducing the kids to political rhetoric, public speaking, these kind of techniques that might be used to persuade and influence them. It's kind of give them an understanding of the power of the spoken word, but also they're brought into a filming process where they're all kind of trained and filmed as world leaders. They have to learn to repeat things. They have to see how stuff works on camera in contrast to the reality. So again, it's kind of breaking down the media spectacle, how something's produced in films, and creating awareness of that. So it kind of seemed to be a really kind of well considered and a good opportunity to be kind of doing the work. But basically we kind of adapted the content from the original workshop in Stoke Newington in London, and we've kind of redesigned everything to be now a kind of downloadable PDF, 30-page workshop guide which could be used by any schools and taken on, which kind of takes the kids through all of these different exercises, incorporates things like a gesture dance class for teaching the gestures, Simon Says, a whole range of different rhetoric templates where they learn things like a rule of three, contrast, question and answers, all of these kind of methodologies, and kind of the impact of that.